We want to jump in with some developing news. U.S. Capitol Police have announced there is an active bomb threat investigation right now at the Library of Congress. CNN reporter Natasha Bertrand tweeted, "Police are sending negotiators to engage with the man in the truck making the threat," one of the sources said. There are reports saying congressional offices have been evacuated. What we understand is that Cannon has been evacuated. That's the office that is closest to the Library of Congress. The Library of Congress has been evacuated. Rayburn and Longworth, two other House office buildings, have not been evacuated. And according to staffers who are there, they're saying they have not gotten a shelter-in-place order. They've just been told to stay away from the Library of Congress. Media have been told that they can gather at Constitution and First, which is right nearby the Library of Congress.
And we're seeing from the Washington Post that the RNC is evacuating as well. So if you're not familiar with the area, the Cannon House office is next to the Library of Congress, and just maybe a block south of it would be the RNC building. Now, of course, for many people on Capitol Hill, this is, brings back memories of January 6th, where there were multiple bomb threats and investigations that the perpetrators were not actually found. So I can imagine folks on Capitol Hill are feeling uneasy as these events are unfolding. But we're gathering more information as we continue to see these events unfold.
And at this point, we don't know anything about the person who is making these threats. We don't know their motivation. We don't know really anything about this at the moment. So I think it's important that we we're going to wait and see and wait for more information as it comes rolling in.
Yeah, and we don't even know how serious the threat is. The Capitol Police take bomb threats incredibly seriously. The fact that they are negotiating with the person who's in the truck suggests that it does rise to some level of seriousness, that they believe that he does, or he or she does have something that warrants those talks. All right, we do now have Arthur Delaney. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going?
It goes. So what are you seeing down there?
So I am at the corner of 2nd and Maryland Avenue, kind of behind the Supreme Court, and you can see behind me they've got a perimeter. And this happens from time to time for a suspicious package, but this is a little more serious. But the police aren't saying what's happening. And that's all I got so far.
Yeah,
well, and we should mention, Arthur. So the House and the Senate are both out of session for August recess. So those buildings are largely, you're on the closer to the House side and the Supreme Court, it looks like. But at least as far as the House buildings, those are largely just have staff there. I don't believe full Capitol tours have even resumed. So most members of Congress aren't there. Is that correct?
That's right. Members of Congress aren't here except for maybe one or two for pro forma sessions, and staffers are probably in the buildings, but we're told to go inside or evacuate. I saw some of the emails from the police to staff, and they were a little more serious than a typical suspicious package. But I don't know anything else beyond what was reported by Jim Sciutto and some others, that apparently there is somebody with the truck that they're talking to.
Yeah,
and you can't see the truck?
No, I can't see
from where you are,
because I'm behind the Supreme Court, and this is supposedly happening by the Library of Congress, which is on the other side of the Capitol. I'm on the Senate side, and the library is on the House side.
Yeah, and I can just say, and I spent about 5 years working on Capitol Hill and can think of a number of times that we got both bomb threats and active shooter threats that did turn out to be nothing. So our hopes are that this is, we're just having the height of caution and this isn't something more serious. Mm-hmm. But this does look like quite a significant show of force and response to deal with whatever the threat is.
The way that they respond to these suspicious packages, that the second time I ever went to the Hill, and I wonder if Arthur's ever made this blunder. The second time I ever went there, so this would have been 2006, had a giant laptop bag with me. And idiotically, I set it down over by this bench that was right outside of the LBJ room, which is where the senators have their lunches. And then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of police come and they cordon off all of the reporters behind this rope line. And I asked, one of the officers, how long are we going to be here? He's like, well, there's a suspicious package. I don't know how long. And after a while, I was like, you know what? Let me get my bag if we're going to be here for a while. And I like walk over and grab it. And everybody's like, are you kidding me? This is yours? You a-hole.
And I will say, in the post 9/11 era, there is really a zero tolerance policy, both on Capitol Hill and the White House, for any sort of suspicious items or packages. I can raise Ryan's suspicious package. I actually once had a wine corkscrew in my purse, and I entered the Capitol, and Capitol Police had to briefly detain me and take it. So hopefully this is something. They did take it.
How do you open a bottle of wine?
So we're hoping this is something less serious. But Arthur, anything new you're hearing?
I'm not hearing anything, but I can tell you that they'll take anything seriously, even if it's just a guy talking and they don't have any other reason to believe he's a threat. Sometime about 20 years ago, a 70-year-old man who actually lives in the neighborhood was giving them some lip because he couldn't stand the new checkpoints that had gone up after 9/11. And he said something like, well, what if I had a bomb, like on the trains or something? Why are you harassing someone just driving through? And they arrested the guy and charged him with making terroristic threats. So like you said, there's a zero tolerance policy. Even if you were to just go into the Capitol and start dancing around, they would put the flex cuffs on you.
Yeah, Arthur, you scan around a little bit. Show us what you're seeing. It looks like it's a pretty empty scene.
Yeah, there's nothing going on right here. It's a little farther away, but they've got a really wide perimeter, and they're directing traffic away from Constitution Avenue, even though this is the other side from where things are happening. So they have a lot of practice doing this, and they're doing it.
So this is as close as you can get. Sorry about that. This is as close as you can get to the scene.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm pretty far away.
So
but I'm just, for your safety, hopefully, stay safe. Don't go near the bomb if there is one.
Yes, you do want to be out of the range of the bomb. That's what I understand about bombs.
Well, and we're seeing some updates. Emily Cochran with the New York Times is on the Capitol, and she tweets that Capitol Police were not just pushing people to evacuate south, but clearing customers at nearby restaurants and moving people out of the streets as well. So again, this may be muscle memory coming out of January 6th, where they're being overly cautious and they want to have a wide perimeter and radius, but they're obviously taking this very seriously.
And this is playing out in the context of the Capitol Police pushing for their $1.9 billion in additional funding that got through the House, if you remember, because the squad kind of split their votes and allowed it to move through. But the Senate has not approved that. And so, so the Capitol Police at the same time are aware that they have not managed to secure their extra funding yet, and so I don't know what role that's playing in what is a reaction or an overreaction.
And Arthur, we hear some sirens where you are.
They're following a pretty standard procedure, I believe. I don't, having seen this before, like you were saying, for other suspicious packages.
Yeah, we've got hear those sirens in the background there.
Yeah. Oh. Well, hopefully nobody's hurt.
And one more.
I want to.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just one more bit of breaking news is from Twitter is that it looks like the Metro is going to bypass the Capitol South stop and just go beyond it in case there's any sort of danger there.
Yeah, I'm not a bomb expert by any means, but I am very curious as to how much damage a bomb in a truck could possibly do to these buildings. Ryan, you probably know a lot. Saying, Ryan, why you know a lot more about this, but
massive amounts of damage. Arthur, you might know this too, but Timothy McVeigh, when he took down the Murrah building, the federal building in Oklahoma City, that was a U-Haul packed with ammonium nitrate that just leveled a city block. There's an extraordinary amount of firepower that you can pack into a truck could devastate the Library of Congress or something, depending on how close they were.
The whole Capitol complex is designed to be protected from a truck bomb specifically. You see those green bollards there?
Mm-hmm.
Those green things, they ring the whole perimeter, and they're designed to block any large vehicle from getting up there. And that's also why they have these retractable barriers here that they just pop up if there's a threat. Those are normally down. So the truck is a major concern for them. And that's also why they have put surveillance cameras all through the neighborhood. I don't know if you can see the little black camera on top of the post over there, but that's the number. That's the reason they did that, to look out for trucks after 9/11.
Yeah, and you'll recall there have been a couple instances. A few years ago, there was a shootout by Capitol Police when a woman drove close into the Capitol complex and was stopped by barricades like that. So we do
Didn't they kill her kid or something?
They were actually both killed in the shootout. Terrible circumstances.
And she was just lost and mentally ill, right?
Mentally
the
ill.
understanding is there's a case of mental illness. But the point being that there is a bit of a perimeter where a car can't get to. The other thing I would note is we dealt with the pipe bomb incident maybe a year and a half ago, where you had the gentleman that was sending to different liberals. I know one went to CNN's Jake Tapper, one George Soros received one. They didn't end up being actually devices that detonated. So there could be any number of scenarios where it could be something much more dangerous like Oklahoma, or this is more of a struggling person who's more doing this as a threat than technology that might actually cause harm. But either way, very concerning.
Still trying to figure out what kind of truck. Some reports, people on Twitter saying a pickup, but I'm not sure if that's definitely not confirmed. But what type of truck we're dealing with, that is.
And Arthur, are you seeing a lot of folks on the street? Are there other journalists out where you are, or is it kind of quiet on the corner you're on?
There's a TV reporter doing a stand-up, and there are no other reporters stationed right here. They might be somewhere else, but it's just police waving away anyone who tries to drive, walk, or run or bike by.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's tough to get information, though, but at the same time, we want everybody to stay safe.
Yeah,
I did ask the police what's going on, just so you know, and these officers are not sharing that information.
According to ABC, the suspect was reportedly holding something in his hand, which some reports have described as a detonator. So it does appear like it has gone beyond the typical suspicious package threat.
And again, early reports are, you always have to take them with a grain of salt, but I saw some reporting on Twitter that the individual was originally making kind of threats and instigating things outside of the Supreme Court, where it sounds like that's where this had started, and then now is over by the Library of Congress, which for folks at home, those are probably within about less than a block of each other. So it sounds like there was some interaction with the individual prior to FBI and Capitol Police arriving on the scene to try to talk him down.
Right, and the fact that he, if he does have a real bomb, because sometimes people like this have a fake bomb, and that gets them attention and gets them on the news. They're having a crisis situation and not even necessarily thinking it through, but that's kind of what's driving them. But if it is a real bomb, the fact that the person has yet to detonate it is a hopeful sign that at least the negotiators are keeping the channel open and trying to work him toward just stepping out.
It looks like there's snipers that are being sent in.
That would be expected. That makes sense.
They're probably already nearby.
And keep in mind, something I'd be watching for is how soon, the White House is just about a 7-minute drive to the Capitol. So oftentimes when there's a crisis at one, the other quickly goes under lockdown just in case there may be multiple threats. So we'll be keeping an eye on if the White House is the next to up its security posture.
Well, hopefully everybody stays safe.
All right, so it's 11:15. That's what we've been able to learn so far. We'll continue monitoring this throughout the day. Thank you for joining, and hope everybody stays safe.